The phone says I made $2,100 this month. I'm sitting in the car with the engine off, but the dashboard lights are still glowing like a weak pulse. Battery's low. Heat's off. I'm not moving, just watching the numbers flicker back at me like they mean something. It almost sounds impressive when you say it out loud, like a milestone, like I should be proud. 2,100. That's what I earned. If you don't count what it cost me to earn it, if you don't count the hours, or the gas, or the sleep, if you don't count the way I've been talking to my steering wheel more than to people lately. I stared at the screen for too long, like maybe the number would change, like maybe it would round up on its own if I waited, but it didn't. Just 2,100. Frozen there like a joke I don't know the punchline to. I remember when that number used to feel like something, before I knew what it would cost me to get it. Back when I still believed in numbers. When you're a kid, you think money works like math. Add more hours, get more life. But it doesn't work like that out here. Out here, money is subtraction. Every dollar comes with a crack in it. Every shift chips away at something you can't name until it's gone. I made $2,100 this month, but I'm still behind. Not even standing still behind. I got paid and went deeper into the hole. That's the part people don't get, that you can work all day, all week, all month, and somehow owe more than when you started. I didn't even feel it happening. That's what gets me. There was no big moment, no single expense that broke it, just this slow drip, like a leak in a place you can't find. You tighten one valve and it starts leaking somewhere else. Rent's due, phone's due, gas tanks empty, tires low. I get paid and the money disappears on contact, like it was allergic to me. I made $2,100, and I didn't feel a single dollar of it. Not in my body, not in my fridge, not in my breath. It just passed through, like I was the hallway it had to walk through to get to someone else. There's a noise my car makes now when I turn the wheel too fast. I keep meaning to get it checked out, but the app doesn't pay for that. Neither do I, apparently. Not this month. Not with $2,100 that's already been digested by the system. I tapped the steering wheel last night. Real soft, like maybe the car would talk back. Tell me what it needs. Tell me what I've done wrong. I got nothing. Just the faint hum of the phone cooling down in the cup holder and that little static sound the radio makes when it's on but not playing anything. That sound has started to feel like home. I scrolled through the transactions, not because I needed to, but because I do that sometimes when I can't breathe. Rent, $800, car payment, $300. Gas this month, over $400, maybe more. I lost track. Insurance, food, data plan, the cash out fee every time I transfer earnings early because I can't wait 2 days. I can't afford patience. I can't afford anything. I made $2,100, and I'm not even close. I'm not even safe. The numbers don't lie, but they don't tell the truth either. They dress up survival to look like stability. They turn the act of barely hanging on into a statistic, something you could print on a brochure. I keep seeing this ad on the side of my app. It says, top earners make over $1,000 a week. Like it's a prize? Like I'm supposed to aim for that? I guess I hit it. 2,100 in 4 weeks. What now? Confetti? A bonus? A break? Number just more bills. Just another tire wobble. Another night sitting in the dark with the seat reclined halfway back, wondering if I should sleep here to save gas or go home and lose money on the drive. That's the math now. Not dollars per hour, but dollars per breath, per block, per thought, per breakdown. Sometimes I count the deliveries. Not for stats, just to feel like it meant something. I did over 200 this month. That's 200 bags of food, 200 strangers, 200 stares or drive-thrus or messages saying, leave at door, 200 little pieces of my body chipped away to build someone else's comfort. I don't remember any of their faces. I remember the smell of the fried food, the heat trapped in the bag, the silence when I handed it over and they didn't look at me. I remember standing in the elevator watching my own reflection and thinking, this is not what I meant to become. Not like this. Not for 2,100. I told myself last month it would be better, that I'd work more hours, catch the bonuses, hit the surge zones, plan smarter, drive longer, sleep less. I did all that. I optimized everything except my soul, and I still ended up here, watching the number blink back at me like a dare, like I'm supposed to feel proud that I moved all month and ended up exactly where I started, or worse. The only thing that changed is the mileage on my car and the bags under my eyes. There's something cruel about seeing a number that looks decent to other people. Something bitter about having to explain to friends why I can't go out, why I can't visit, why I can't just use what I made. They see 2,100 and think I'm doing fine. They don't see the line of charges stacked behind it like a shadow. They don't see the negative space, the parts that eat what I earn before I can hold it, the gas tank, the payment plan, the unpaid hours, the body that breaks in ways you can't claim on a form. I keep thinking about that, how I'm working a job that breaks you but doesn't recognize your body as something that can be injured. You can't get hurt here because you were never considered whole to begin with. This is the part that's hard to say. That I've started feeling like I don't deserve more, like maybe this is all I'm worth, that maybe it's not supposed to get better. Not for me. Maybe the number is the reward, not what it buys, not what it changes, just the number itself. I made $2,100 this month. That's the headline, the punchline, the tombstone. And now I'm supposed to go out and do it again? I haven't started the engine yet. I don't know where I'm going today. The app is open, the pings come in, soft and mechanical, like little reminders that I'm still alive, still needed, still for sale. The gas light came on 10 minutes ago. My foot's still on the brake. The heat's fading. I haven't moved because I don't know what to do with the math anymore. I made $2,100 this month, and I'm still choosing between gas and food, between debt and distance, between staying still and falling further. I used to think that if I just worked harder, I'd outrun the problem, but it's not something you outrun. It rides with you. It sits in the passenger seat. It talks back through the steering column. It tells you that you're doing everything right and still losing, still bleeding, still vanishing under a number that looks better than it feels. I made $2,100 this month, but I can't touch any of it. And that's the part I didn't know would hurt this much. Gas is the first thing that gets paid. Not me. I paid for gas before I ate, again. I stood at pump 7 in the dark, watching the numbers race upward like they were chasing something, maybe my dignity. The air smelled like wet concrete and old gasoline, and I kept one hand in my jacket pocket to keep it warm, while the other gripped the pump like it owed me something. The card reader took 2 swipes to register, and I flinched both times like it might say, declined. That moment between inserting the card and hearing the beep, that's when I hold my breath. Not during emergencies, not when I'm almost in an accident. Just that split second before the machine decides if I get to keep moving. I don't remember the last time I filled the tank all the way. I live in fractions now. Quarter here, eighth there. Enough to make it through the shift, but never home, never back. I don't think I've ever paid myself first, not once. The money comes in and scatters, like roaches under light. It never stays long enough to feel like mine. But gas always gets its share. Gas doesn't wait, gas doesn't bargain. Gas doesn't care if I've eaten or slept or called my mother. Gas is king. And if I don't serve it, the rest collapses. The phone doesn't matter without gas. The app doesn't work without gas. The body doesn't move. No movement means no earnings. No earnings means nothing. So the tank comes first, then the tires, then the brakes, then the oil change. I keep pushing past 3,000 miles. I live under the weight of things that have to happen now or everything breaks later. It's always now or never. Always today or suffer. The debit card still smells like warm plastic from sitting on the dashboard. I use it so often it feels hot in my hand. I've memorized the keypad angles at every gas station in a 15-mile radius. Chevron's 403. The little corner Exxon has the most generous pre-authorization. I know which pumps don't print receipts and which ones freeze if you remove the card too fast. I know all these things but can't tell you the last time I bought real food. Not drive-through, not gas station snacks. Food with color. Food that took more than 90 seconds to make. I scroll past pictures of meals and can almost smell them, but I don't stop. I can't. The food budget shrank. 3 months ago. It got swallowed by rising gas prices and a slow leak in my back left tire. My car payment hits the account on the 15th, automatically. No warning, no forgiveness. $279, carved out like a tax on motion. Then there's the insurance, $122. The phone bill, $90. The data plan has to stay unlimited. I can't afford lag, can't afford buffering when the app pings. That delay could cost me a tip, could cost me a job. So I keep the premium plan and eat cold toast for 3 days straight. Priorities, right? The app charges me if I want to cash out early. I used to wait until the end of the week to transfer. Now I cash out twice a day, $4 gone each time. I'm paying to access the money I already earned, like renting my own wallet. Then there's maintenance. The slow erosion that isn't urgent until it is. Windshield wipers that smear more than they clear. A rattle in the steering column. Brake pads that squeal when I slow down, but only when the windows are open. Every noise feels like a deadline I can't meet. I used to be afraid of speeding tickets. Now I'm afraid of check engine lights. They don't warn you in red. They whisper in amber, flickering like a reminder you're disposable. One flat tire could end the month. One breakdown could end the streak. I drive on prayers and patch kits, on air pressure apps and receipts. I don't file because taxes are a language I stopped speaking last April. Some days I don't even realize I've been driving for 6 hours without a break. The body stops sending signals after a while. Hunger becomes a background noise. Fatigue turns into static. I schedule myself around surges and quests, not meals or sunlight. I chase peak pay like it's the last train out, accept $5 deliveries just to stay in motion, decline the low ones and watch the app punish me in silence. I've learned the ritual. Keep the acceptance rate high, keep the response time quick, keep your head down and your tank just full enough to stay eligible. If that means skipping breakfast, so be it. If that means skipping rent, maybe next month. But if I skip gas, the whole thing stops, and I can't afford to stop. That's the sick part. It's not that I'm broke. It's that I'm operational, I'm functioning, I'm part of the machine, I'm the link between someone's cravings and their doorstep. I'm the body they don't see, making sure their food is still warm when it gets there. And to keep being that, just to keep being useful, I have to fund my own endurance. I pay for the privilege of labor. I subsidize my own exhaustion. I am the customer and the product, the investor and the liability. I spend everything just to stay broke in motion. There's a hierarchy to survival now. Gas, phone, application, car, me, in that order. I come last. Not because I hate myself, but because the system taught me where to stand. I get what's left. If there is anything left, most days there isn't. Most days, I live off caffeine and momentum. I talk to myself in the mirror of my rear view. I measure my life in pings. The good days are the ones where I make just enough to not lose more. That's it, that's the ceiling. Break even is the new luxury. And people still say it like a compliment. At least you're working. At least you're not lazy. As if that's the goal, as if movement equals progress. They don't see the receipts. They don't see the overdraft notices, the bounced subscription renewals, the check oil light flashing on day 3 of a 10-day stretch. They don't see me shivering at the gas station at 2 in the morning, punching in the same zip code again and again because the card keeps timing out. They don't see me choosing between 3 gallons and 4, doing the math in my head like a prayer. It used to embarrass me. To admit I couldn't fill my own tank, now it just feels normal, expected. I've stopped looking at the price per gallon. I just swipe, pump, and pray. Then I climb back in the car, crank the engine, and wait for the app to buzz. That buzz is my real paycheck. That vibration in my pocket, that's what I live for now. That's what I feed with every dollar I don't get to keep. There's a strange peace in this kind of exhaustion, a rhythm to the sacrifice. Wake, drive, fill, repeat. I don't think about the future anymore. I think about the next shift, the next ping, the next half tank. I measure success by how little I have to give up, not by what I gain. If I can end the day without borrowing from tomorrow, that's a win. If I can make it home without running out of gas, that's a blessing. I used to be the kind of person who budgeted for goals, vacations, gifts, a new jacket. Now I budget for stability, for motion, for staying eligible. The dreams shrank, the margins got tighter, but the engine still runs. And as long as it runs, I keep going. Because I don't know what happens if I stop. I don't know who I am without the motion. I don't know what I'd say to myself in the silence that follows. So I pay for the gas before I pay for me. Because if I don't move, I don't exist. And I'm not ready to disappear just yet. Everything I touch belongs to someone else. The food in the back seat was never mine. I smelled it sometimes, spicy, greasy, warm, through the thin paper bag, but it was never mine. Carried it upstairs, placed it on porches, left it at doors that opened just long enough to take it and close again. I've touched more dinners than I've eaten, felt the heat against my knuckles, heard the fries shift in the box, but none of it stayed. It passed through me like everything else. Just a moment, a handoff, a trace of warmth I didn't get to keep. I think about that a lot, how much I deliver comfort I'll never taste, how much of my time disappears into meals I can't afford. I drive through neighborhoods I'll never live in, wide streets, tall trees, houses with lights in every room, kids playing in the yard, driveways that fit 2 cars, and still have room for bicycles. I slow down when I pull in, not just for GPS accuracy, but because some part of me wants to see it, to imagine, to borrow the image just for a second. Then I hand over the bag or take a picture at the door and drive off before anyone sees me lingering. I don't belong there. That kind of space, that kind of quiet, it's not for me. It never was. I'm just passing through, like everything else in my life. Even my car isn't mine. It's leased. It belongs to the payments, the interest, the paperwork I signed in a rush because the old one died. I clean it like it's mine. I sleep in it like it's mine. I talk to it like it's a partner. But I know the truth. Miss one payment and it's gone. Just like that. Like I was never in it. Like all the hours, all the miles, all the nights I bled into the seats meant nothing. I don't own it. I owe on it. There's a difference, a sharp one. The phone isn't mine either. I paid it off eventually, but I still don't own it. It belongs to the apps, to the notifications, to the routing algorithms and ping tones and auto responses. It decides when I move, when I eat, when I rest. If it dies, I die a little too. Not in body, but in income, in schedule, in identity. No orders, no updates, no purpose. I charge it before I feed myself. I protect it better than I protect my own needs. Because it's not just a phone. It's the leash I call opportunity. Time isn't mine. I trade it before I wake up. Sell it before I open my eyes. I don't set my schedule. The market does. The surge map, the trends, the push notifications that say, high demand now, earn more, like it's a gift. I cancel plans before they start, skip sleep for quests, miss messages from friends I don't reply to for days. I watch birthdays pass, holidays blur, Sundays feel like Wednesdays and Wednesdays feel like years. All of it devoured by the logic of earning. Every hour bent towards someone else's urgency, not mine. My body isn't mine, not anymore. It's sore in places I stopped noticing. My lower back talks to me in pain, not language. My knees creak like doors left open. My fingers go numb from the wheel. Sometimes I sleep and dream that I'm still driving. Wake up with my hands clenched like I'm still turning corners. I stretch in parking lots like someone who's still pretending they'll get better. But I know I won't. There's no recovery in this, no gym membership, no rest day, just maintenance. Enough to stay mobile, enough to keep the body barely working. But not mine, never mine. Even my face feels borrowed. I smile when I have to. I nod when I'm supposed to. I present a version of myself that gets the 5 stars, that doesn't cause problems, that apologizes for delays, even when they weren't my fault. I've learned the right tone to use in chat, the right way to knock without seeming rude, the script of politeness carved into my throat like a reflex. They don't see me, they see the delivery. I'm background, accessory, optional, replaceable. That's the role, that's the contract. Not in writing, but in outcome. Show up, disappear, repeat. Every dollar I make comes with strings. It doesn't land, it doesn't rest. It moves right away to rent, to gas, to insurance, to repairs, to that one old loan I can't shake. I never hold it long enough to feel like it's mine, just a pass-through, just a funnel. It enters, it exits, like water through cupped hands, and I try not to look too closely at it because it hurts to count what doesn't stay. It hurts to pretend. The routes I drive aren't mine, the directions, the detours, the timing, the destination. None of it belongs to me. I follow the map like it knows me better than I know myself. I let it guide me because it's easier than deciding. I used to pick where I wanted to go. Now I just accept. Accept the order, accept the delay, accept the silence, accept the fact that even the road isn't mine, it's rented by the mile. I pretend sometimes that I'm in control, that I chose this, that flexibility means freedom, that I'm building something. But the pretending gets harder. I see through it now. The screen time report on my phone tells me exactly how much of my life I've sold this week. 9 hours a day on apps, 13 hours of navigation, 47 deliveries, no savings, no receipts, just motion and fatigue. The kind that settles in your jaw and won't unclench. I used to own things, little things, a favorite hoodie, a nice pair of shoes, a coffee mug from someone I loved. I don't know where those things went. They got lost somewhere between the jobs and the car and the nights I didn't make it home. Everything feels temporary now. My belongings, my routines, my meals, my conversations. Even my memories feel like they belong to someone else, like I lived them with rented breath. There's shame in this, quiet shame, the kind you don't talk about because you're supposed to be grateful. At least you have work, at least you're getting by, at least you're not asking for help. But deep down, I know I've been giving everything and keeping nothing. I know I've traded rest for reach, traded stillness for survival, traded identity for efficiency. And all I got was motion, not progress, just motion. I don't know what I own anymore. Maybe my voice, maybe my silence, maybe this quiet moment between pings where the phone hasn't decided who I am yet, where I get to breathe without delivering something. Maybe that's mine, for now. Until the next buzz, not mine. The food, the car, the hours, the roads, the miles, the gas, the smile, the time. Not mine, not mine, not mine. And still, I'm here, still moving, still working, still pretending I have something to show for it. But the truth is, I touch everything, and everything slips through, like I was never meant to hold it in the first place. I worked every day that month, and I'm further behind. I worked every day that month, every single day. No breaks, no weekends, no real sleep. Just short pauses between shifts that blurred into each other like a smudge on glass. 31 days of saying yes to the application, to the ping, to the pressure. I kept telling myself it would be worth it, that if I pushed hard enough, harder than last time, harder than what broke me the time before, something would change, that I'd finally catch up, that I'd finally breathe without checking the balance first. I believed it. I needed to believe it, because the alternative, that no amount of effort would save me, was too much to hold. I remember starting the month with a list, not a dream, not a goal, just numbers. Hit this many deliveries, drive this many hours, work during surge, get the bonus, max the quest, do everything the app said. I planned out my shifts like it was a formula, like consistency would translate to stability, like the math would finally make sense if I stuck to it long enough, and for a while it looked like it might. Week 1 felt decent. The payouts stacked. I hit the marks. I kept the streak alive. I thought, maybe this is it. Maybe I'm finally doing it right. Then the car broke. Not fully, just enough to cost me. A brake issue, 2 tires, a diagnostic fee I couldn't argue with. $400 gone before the week ended. That was the money I hadn't even counted yet. The money I thought might go to groceries, or a late bill, or just something small for myself. A hoodie I'd been eyeing, a haircut I kept postponing, gone just like that, like it never existed. I remember sitting in the shop lobby trying not to count the hours I was losing while I waited. watching other people walk in and out, normal people, people with appointments and insurance and time. I stared at the TV in the corner and didn't hear a word of it. My ears were ringing from the noise in my chest, from knowing that no matter how many hours I worked, the car would still take more than I had. The next week I drove through a fever. I shouldn't have. I knew that, but I couldn't stop, couldn't afford the stillness. I wore a mask, kept the windows down, took cold meds between pickups and told myself it was just allergies. Every order felt heavier. Every flight of stairs took more out of me than I had to give. I remember leaving a bag on a porch and sitting back in the car, drenched in sweat, hands shaking. I closed my eyes for 10 minutes and set an alarm so I wouldn't miss the next ping. That's what it came to. Resting in the front seat with the engine running, not to heal, but to stall the collapse just long enough to keep earning. There was one day mid-month when I thought maybe I was ahead. The app was offering a boost for nighttime deliveries. I mapped out the whole night, scheduled it like a military operation, brought snacks, packed water, cleared everything else off the calendar. I drove 12 hours straight, made every drop, hit every zone. But the boost wasn't as big as I expected. The fine print said something about minimum thresholds. I ended the shift tired enough to cry with less than I'd made on a normal day. That night broke something. Not loudly, just a quiet snap, like a string inside me that had been pulled too tight for too long. I didn't scream, I didn't curse. I just sat in the car staring at the final number, like maybe if I blinked it would go up. It didn't. I started eating once a day to stretch the budget, small things, drive-through value menus, leftovers from canceled orders, a protein bar I kept in the glove compartment for emergencies that started becoming routine. I stopped checking my weight. My clothes told the story. I didn't have time to think about it anyway. The priority was motion, earnings, the next shift. The calendar blurred into repetition, wake, drive, fuel, repeat. No birthdays, no visits. No "how are you" messages that weren't sent hours late and read with guilt. By the last week, I was floating. Not metaphorically, literally. My head buzzed, my hands trembled. I started talking to the car, not out of madness, just to stay awake. Called it by name, apologized when I hit potholes, thanked it when the engine didn't stall. There was one night I sat in the parking lot of a 7-Eleven and stared at the gas pump for 15 minutes. I didn't have enough in the account to fill it. I was waiting for one last payment to clear. The cold crept in through the windows and I didn't roll them up. I just let it happen. And after all that, after 31 days of this, after hours stacked on hours, after hunger and illness and silence and the car and the cold and the promises and the math, I ended up with less. Less in the account, less in the tank, less in the body, less in the spirit. I made more than usual technically, but the costs multiplied faster than the gains. The car needed more, the body needed more, the bills were heavier. The inflation didn't care how long I drove. I added more hours and came out with less. There's a particular kind of silence that hits when you realize effort doesn't save you. It's not anger. It's not even sadness. It's something colder, something heavier, a recognition that you're not moving forward. You're sinking. Slowly, gently, like sand, slipping through your fingers while you try to hold it still. I used to think working hard was the answer, that people who struggled just weren't doing enough. I know better now. I've done enough. I've done more than enough. And I'm still behind. Behind on bills, behind on sleep, behind on health, behind on life. I see people around me building, saving, growing. I'm shrinking, getting smaller, I've traded my months for miles, and the math still doesn't add up. I kept telling myself it was just a bad week, a bad month, a temporary thing. But this isn't temporary. This is the shape of it now. This is the model. This is the grind they sell as flexibility. It bends until you break and then asks why you're so fragile. I don't hate the work. That's the worst part. I've gotten used to the solitude, to the roots, to the rhythm, but I hate that it doesn't hold me, that it doesn't care if I fall apart, that I can give everything, and still lose ground, still stare at my reflection in the windshield and wonder who I'm becoming. I worked every day that month, every single day, and somehow I have less than I started with. The car is running again. I don't remember turning the key. The engine hums like a lullaby I don't believe in. Outside, the city moves like it always does. Orders waiting, routes calculating, deliveries pending. I'm still here. Still breathing in a car that never turns off. Still pretending this month will be different. Still hoping the app will buzz, because if it doesn't, I don't know what's left. I get paid in dust. That's what it feels like. I watch the numbers land, touch the account, and disappear. Every dollar already claimed, already spoken for. I made $2,100 this month. I remember saying it like it mattered, like it meant I was doing okay, like maybe that number could finally hold me. But it didn't. It passed through me, like light through a cracked window, like a whisper no one stays long enough to hear. The money came in and I moved it, automatically, mindlessly. Rent drained $600 right away. Gone. Car note $300. Insurance another $100 and change. Gas, too much to even count anymore. I used to save receipts. I stopped. It was too depressing to line them up and see what I'd traded just to keep moving. I made $2,100, and I still had to skip laundry. I still had to stare at the coin machine in the basement of the apartment and choose which pile of clothes could wait another week. I still had to stand in line at the gas station and wonder if the debit card would hum its approval or flash its refusal. I still had to check my balance before buying a sandwich. Not because it was fancy, just because I didn't know what was left. A sandwich. $7, maybe less. And I still hesitated, still checked the app, still refreshed the bank account, and counted backwards from nothing. The kind of poverty that doesn't show up in your clothes or your phone, but in how long you stand in front of small decisions. Do I eat now or later? Do I drive more tonight or risk coming up short on Monday? Do I pay the phone bill today or wait until I'm locked out of the app? These aren't questions anymore. They're rituals. Quiet, invisible decisions that map the boundaries of my life. I don't know how I got here. I followed the rules, worked the hours, said yes when the system asked, showed up early, stayed late, hit the metrics, and still less, still shrinking, still missing things that used to be automatic, like clean clothes, like a full tank, like rest. I used to think poor meant jobless, meant standing still, but I've never moved more in my life, never worked harder, never chased the next dollar with more desperation, and yet I'm poorer now than I was 6 months ago. Maybe not in earnings, but in energy, in margin, in space to breathe. There's something deeply cruel about that. To do everything they told you to do and come out behind. To grind your days into dust and be told you should just budget better, like it's a math problem. Like there's a trick you haven't figured out yet. There's no trick. The system is the trick. The house always wins. And I am the housekeeper. The one who shows up after the party and sweeps up the confetti made of someone else's joy. I deliver comfort I can't afford. Drive strangers to places I'll never stay. Hand over meals I can't eat. I carry everyone else's ease like it weighs nothing, but it buries me slowly. I've become a master of approximation. I know how far I can go on half a tank. I know how many miles I can stretch an oil change before the engine complains. I know the cheapest place to get a tire plugged. I know what it feels like to coast on fumes, literally and emotionally. I've trained myself to sleep in parking lots when the drive home costs too much, to hold off on dinner until the last delivery, to shower quickly so the water bill stays under the average. I know what days the food bank gives out boxes. I know how to pretend I don't need them. I get paid in dust, in the aftertaste of effort, in the silence after the deposit clears and everything is already gone. The money comes in and it vanishes like it was embarrassed to be seen. I remember when I used to cash a check and feel something, pride, security, even just a moment of relief. Now I just brace myself for what's due, for what's late, for what's next. The deposits feel like apologies from a machine that doesn't even know my name. There's a moment every night where I just sit, engine off, phone face down, nothing moving. I'm not thinking, not planning, not regretting, just there, breathing, trying to remember who I was before everything became a transaction, before survival became strategy, before I had to earn the right to exist every single day. I used to dream bigger. Now I just hope the tire holds, that the account doesn't overdraft, that the aches in my back aren't something serious, because I can't afford serious. And I hate that I even think like that now, like I've adapted to suffering, like I've trained myself to function without basic things: food, rest, peace. I scroll past other people's lives and feel like I'm watching another species. Vacations, savings, leisure. I don't resent them, I just don't understand them anymore. I've been broke so long that stability feels like fiction, like something people made up to sell coffee table books. I've convinced myself that a full fridge is luxury, that a day off is indulgent, that health is negotiable, that I can't afford softness, can't afford stillness, can't afford a future. $2,100. That's what the app said. That's what I worked for. But what I got was dust, the residue of labor, the outline of effort without reward. I hold up the number like it's supposed to mean something. But I'm still hungry, still late, still alone in a car with a crack in the windshield and a rattle I've been ignoring for 6 weeks. Still breathing recycled air, still canceling plans I couldn't afford to make, still calculating how much gas I need to finish the night without dipping below zero. I don't know what to say anymore. People ask how work is. I lie. Say it's fine. Say I'm grateful. Say it's enough. Because I can't explain the kind of tired that isn't about sleep, the kind of broke that isn't about dollars, the kind of fading that happens when every part of your life gets leased out to someone else's convenience. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to be dramatic. I just want something to hold, something that doesn't vanish on contact. But all I get is dust, movement without direction, work without progress, breath without rest. I've given everything, every hour, every step, every good mood, every drop of gas, an ounce of patience, and fragment of hope. And what I got back, what I hold at the end of the month, what I feel when I finally sit still, is nothing. Not even a clean ending. Just this quiet, unfinished, and too familiar.